everybody, welcome back to Getting Started with Bing Ads. This is our fourth and final module entitled Optimizations in the Bing Ads Editor. We have done a good amount, we've covered a lot today actually. We've covered all aspects of, first of all, the basics behind or the fundamentals behind search engine marketing at its base. We've talked about getting started, how do I create a new campaign, what are all of the key elements I need to ensure are included within campaigns, how do keywords work, how do match types work, all of these types of things, writing good ad copy. We're getting to a point where that's all fine and good. What we want to key in on now are all of the ways that we can drive better performance. So it's one thing for us to start to create everything. I think Bethany even mentioned the fact of you can't just set it and forget it, and I really agree with her. I really think that what we're going to utilize here today and in this final module is all about utilizing Bing Ads reports to really get to the bottom of what is performing and what is not performing. We're going to talk through some of the basics of campaign optimization. This too could be a full day's module all around how do I eke out more performance within my campaigns. We're going to talk about a really great tool, a really great efficiency tool called the Bing Ads Editor. This is a downloadable secondary software that you will use to make bulk edits to your campaigns. It's really great, to be honest, for creating new campaigns, for getting things launched. And so any of us that are attending today's session and they're interested in getting started with Bing Ads, just as the title of the day is called, this is a great way to do that and to launch that process. So we'll go through basics, some of the management tips, and then we have a very secret surprise at the end as we start to look through things like the Bing Ads Partner Support Channel. There are so many resources at your disposal, and we're gonna go ahead and talk through a lot of that as well. To get started, we're gonna jump into a section that honestly could also be broken out into a full-on day of how do I measure and understand campaign analytics, because this is a huge topic, a hugely important topic. This is something that digital marketing consultants are completely engrossed with all the time, because again, we have to be able to figure out what's working and what's not working, and we adjust as we go. All of the things that we'll look at with these reports feed into how we optimize campaigns. So we'll look at the different types of reports that we can pull, creating customized reports, having these sent back to you so you don't have to go through the process of recreating this every time, save custom reports, things like that. Getting started, there are 5 categories of Bing Ads reports. I would say that a lot of us are going to spend a majority of our time looking at performance reports. There are 18 different types of performance reports within Bing Ads. There are 18 different types of reports because there are all of these different ways that we can slice up, how campaigns have performed. We're gonna highlight one specific report that, again, if I could assign an asterisk or an underline or a highlight, it is a report that we need all the time. Change history really gets down to, quite honestly, who did what in the campaigns and when. When you're working in an agency environment or when you're working with multiple account owners, it's good to understand not only what has been done and how it performed, but has anything gone wrong, and can I find out how it went wrong so I can adjust it, fix it, mitigate the problem. Targeting reports, absolutely paramount, because like we showcased earlier in the day, we talked about segmenting your users by hour of the day, day of the week, by different geographic location. We need to be able to tell which particular segment of traffic is performing very well. And we can use the targeting reports not just to figure out where things were going well, but we then take those insights and we map that right back into the account. All of these reports are all about taking insights and actioning them in our campaigns, improving performance. Campaign analytics reports. Again, like we said earlier, the early days of search engine marketing were about driving clicks and getting folks to your website. that's no longer good enough, to be honest. We need to make sure that we are driving conversions. We need to make sure that the money we're spending is resulting in sales or conversions to whatever degree we are looking to convert on the site. And then finally, we talked about billing and budgets. How do we know? We get this question all the time in our own work and in seminars. We get this question of, how do I know how much to budget? How do I know what's the right amount to acquire more traffic to the site, to convert and whatnot? We can use these budget reports to see not only are we spending enough or are we not spending enough, but how quickly are we spending that budget? Can we adjust this? Can we move budget into more appropriate campaigns and things like that? Again, immensely powerful, really great way for us to continually optimize. And so the big theme of this module, all about optimization, all about taking action based on really strong data decisions. First of all, where do we see the reports? Well, when you're in your home screen for Bing Ads, at the very top there's a menu bar, and within that menu bar you can see the actual reports button. Very easy. When you move into that actual report screen, you've got all of your different types of reports. Now the first one, I told you there was a lot. When it comes to performance reports, we have 18 different ways to slice up how campaigns performed or ad groups performed. And you can see here, look at all the dimensions that we have to work with. We can look at things at a campaign level. We can look at things at a keyword level. So maybe I want to quickly analyze what are my top 10 performing keywords for the last month. How do my ads perform? Which ads are driving higher click volume? Which ads are driving higher impression volume? What's working well? When we get into, when you're looking at this screen, there's one very specific report that we love to key in on, and it is that of the search term report. When Bethany was talking all about keyword match types, we zoned in on the idea that, if you utilize broad match, you have the ability to gather a lot of potential traffic. So you use broad match to cast a very wide net, because Bing is going to take whatever that broad match keyword is and find potential variations that match very well to that. And you're going to show your ad to those types of users. And you can use exact match to really fine tune the list. I don't know how many of you were really queuing in on this concept, but when you use broad match, Bethany mentioned that Bing is going to match what it thinks is appropriate to that broad match keyword. We need to be able to tell what it is that Bing matched for us in order to figure out, A, did it work well? B, if it did not work well, how do we make sure that we utilize campaign negative keywords so we don't show for that particular variation again? And on the flip side, in a very positive way, what types of variations did we not think of? And can we then take those keyword variations, start bidding on them, and then essentially drive even more qualified traffic to our ads and convert better? Again, this report, I can't stress enough how valuable this is, not only for us just to understand how match types are performing, but as an exploratory tool, as a keyword negative scoping tool. This is something, Bethany, how often would you say that you utilize the search term report?
I use it, especially on new campaigns, once a week. So at least for the first 3 to 4 months, I'm probably in it once a week. I will maybe start to decrease my frequency once I'm going in and maybe I'm only finding a couple keywords to add or exclude. Then that triggers to me, okay, I'm all right if I do once every 2 weeks. But especially if you're using broad, even broad modified, you want to be in here very frequently, cleaning out negative keywords that you're probably spending money on, but also adding in keywords that you can see are relevant that you want to bid on.
Great point. And the way a lot of times when we work with other clients and we're starting or launching a new campaign, we start with broad match because we want to assess what works and what doesn't work. We'll use this search term report very, very often, just like Bethany was saying, to weed down what's working and what's not working. If you're looking at my screen, you can see that what we have here is the actual keyword, so Boston Bakery, and then you can see the different variations that actually match to it. For example, you've got Boston Bakery matched as an exact delivered match type. You've got Bakeries Boston. Again, very relevant, very similar. And you got Rosie's Bakery, probably a competing, potentially a competing bakery to what our fictitious Mary has been up to. But again, when you look for, you're going to look for, or you're going to identify competitive terms, you're going to identify things that have the ability to either work very well for you and open up the door for more opportunity, or potentially be somewhat distracting. It can charge up your cost per click. It can drive users to your ad that aren't necessarily relevant. And again, we're looking for relevancy. We're looking for really strong click-through rates that are the ideal traffic for us. And
what's also great about this report is that you are already getting an idea of the statistics for the search term. So if you want to, let's say, add in Bakeries Boston as a keyword, you can already see what position you're falling in, how much you're paying on average, and if you are in a position that you are okay with, then use the current average cost per click as your starting bid once you add that keyword into your account. If you want to increase your position from where you're already falling naturally, increase your bid. If you're showing in position 1, then maybe you can decrease your bid a little bit from the average cost per click. So instead of just pulling those initial estimates from either the keyword research tool or within the keyword section itself, you're actually seeing real data of how your ads are performing for those search terms currently. Perfect. In terms of what we want to look at next, we briefly mentioned change history reports, and this is our controversial report of the day, because when Bethany and I work together, we work in an agency environment, and we work in an environment where folks are working on the same campaigns and the same accounts for different clients quite often. Our example with Mary, she's likely to be the only one going through these changes. We can look at all of the different ways that the account has shifted or adjusted, again, for multiple reasons. One might be, quite simply, I made a change last week and all of a sudden performance has gone through the roof. We've seen an increase in conversions. What did I do? I can't remember back that far. And it might have been a bid change. It might have been an adjustment to the ad copy. Again, when you're doing a lot of changes, this is a great way to identify that. Realistically, also in an agency environment, we are pulling this type of report not to check back in on folks, but let's say something goes wrong, unfortunately, we're able to go back and see, A, when was the change made? What is it that caused things to go haywire? Who did it? Not for the purpose of assigning blame, but so that we can go ahead and tackle that change and figure out what needs to be adjusted back. And we can look at everything from budgets to change of status. Did we pause or unpause certain campaigns or keywords or ad groups? We can look at targeting changes. A lot of these things, again, with Bing Ads, we have the ability to take things and expand out, reach a broader group of folks, and which can have multiple consequences, whether they are less relevant. We can decrease the scope of our user we're targeting, and we can make things more relevant. And again, those are changes that we want to highlight. We want to do more of that. And just as a tip to throw in there too, if you do have multiple people working on an account, just as we do, make sure that everybody has their own login information. Don't share the same one, because then it's going to look like the same user did all the changes, and I can do so many changes that I forget if I actually did this one adjustment or not. So having everybody have their own unique login, you can easily tie back to who made the individual changes. I can tell you, I work with Bethany, and whenever changes are good, Bethany always takes credit. Whenever changes do not go so well, she is quick to say, I was sharing my login. No. But on my screen, you can see that there is, in this situation, we've got one user, Mary, right in the center. You can say who changed it, and you can see that Mary changed everything. Now, that might very well be solely her login, or she's sharing that across her team or whoever else is working with her. Next, we want to talk about targeting reports. And the reason we think targeting reports are so important is not
not just from the standpoint of let's see how things performed across different, age and gender groups or locations, but because quite specifically, we want to identify what is our next opportunity. Bethany, we constantly talk about what is the next optimization strategy for a client for our own campaigns that we run on Bing Ads. And this is a great way. These are really huge areas, looking at demographic data, looking at geographic location. And then this last piece, which is called negative keyword conflicts. It's a great way to understand, are there certain negative keywords that we've used that are actually removing us from potential opportunities for our ads to show because it conflicts with existing keywords that we do want to show ads for. So thinking about Mary again, Mary's able to pull an age and gender report and highlight what are the different age groups, what are the different gender groups that perform really well. And so what she's done is she can see right away, okay, the females between the ages of 35 and 49 perform very well. Click percentage is very high, click-through rate is very high. What does she want to do with that information? She's probably going to go ahead and target to that group exclusively. Again, we've started to change our tune a bit from relevancy is extremely important, and not only is relevancy extremely important, but testing is extremely important. You can identify these types of opportunities, but you have to test them. So what I would suggest, I'm sure Bethany would back me up on this, when you find interesting opportunities or advantages in your data like this, for example, females between this particular age group are performing very well, let's go ahead and build out a slightly different campaign, segment it to only those folks, and let's drive traffic there, see how it performs. Again, these are all suggestions based around the idea that we can never assume what's absolutely right for your business, but we can tell you that through these types of reports, you're really able to identify where there's opportunity. Thinking about campaign analytics reports, we've got multiple slices of data here as well. I walked you through a demo showing how we set up a conversion goal. There are multiple ways we can take that information and, again, drive further analysis and better understand what's working well and what's not working well. A conversion goal, quite simply, allows us to understand how many conversions are we driving after we, again, send our traffic to particular places. We can look at a goal report, which will allow us to see more specifically what are the steps of a conversion path that someone took to get to the actual purchase page or sign-up page or whatever that is. We can look at things like segmentation and understand how certain location segments are performing and driving conversions. All of these are based around the idea that once you're tracking conversions, you can look at how well you're able to drive conversion based on these similar segments. So looking at something a bit more specific, let's say Mary wants to understand what ad groups are converting very well. Well, she goes ahead and pulls a conversion report, and you can see here, these are 3 top ad groups. Right away, she can understand how much revenue have they driven and what was the return on ad spend overall. What do you do with this information? Well, again, we can figure out right away, is there a problem with the conversion path? Bethany highlighted this earlier. Our biggest job as marketers is to acquire traffic and send it to the web page. But once folks get to that web page, how do we know that they're taking the right steps to make that purchase, sign up for that newsletter, whatever it is that we're doing? We need to be able to articulate and we need to be able to discover how are things performing once they get there. And so conversion reports can really help us do that and understand how we're driving value. Another one we have here, bidding and budget reports. So there's 2 main reports we want to highlight here. First of which is budget reporting. And again, this is really useful, I would say, from a starting standpoint for advertisers that are launching new campaigns, that may have an idea of what their marketing budgets are, but might not fully realize how well are they spending that budget. We talked about the fact that you can segment your budget by day. You can set your budgets at a monthly level. This will allow us to see how much have we spent to date, how well is it, how efficient are we with the money that we're spending. And then for all of you, I'm sure this is extremely exciting for everyone everybody wants to know their billing statement, right? Everybody wants to know how much money they owe, right? So yes, of course you can pull billing statements, you can understand what you've been charged and how that works. Looking at a budget report, this is really great, again, for that either that starting advertiser or for those advertisers that haven't quite figured out a really efficient use of budgeting. We can see what's the monthly budget, what is our spend to date, and this might be adjusted. Let's say you've underutilized budget. You want to go ahead and pull what you have remaining and spend it before the month is up or before the year is up or the fiscal year. Whatever it is, this is a great way to roll up that data and be able to figure out where are there opportunities. The next piece here is about customizing reports. And a really great aspect of being in the Bing Ads interface is that we're going to get into saving and sending ourselves reports in just a moment. But there's a whole lot of metrics that you may or may not find very valuable to the story you have to tell. I'm sure a lot of you out there work with other stakeholders that have to report back on certain campaign performance. I'm sure that everybody has different potential metrics or KPIs or key performance indicators that they find important. It's really easy. In fact, the Bing Ads interface allows for a lot of customization, a lot of potential metrics that you can pull in and out. As you can see on the screen here, there's a number of different options. The good news is that once you've solidified a report that you know works really well, you can go ahead and ensure that you save that report so you can come back and use it later. So for example, I've gone ahead, I've saved particular reports that I know work really well, that I know I'm going to share with my management team once a month. I can set that to be sent to me weekly, certain time every day. I can add in multiple folks that might want to receive this as well. And again, it's just a way to ensure that continuity, make sure that you're being informed about what's working well and what's not. Because at the end of the day, Bethany, what are we trying to do? We're using this data to make changes because that's what all of this is about. We need that feedback loop. We need that optimization strategy so we can fix and adjust afterwards. That being said, we're going to go ahead and save some of these reports. And of course, I'm sure that a lot of you that are currently using Bing Ads, for those of you that are new to it, go ahead and save all of the most pertinent reports that you would use all the time. One might be, we have in the example here, utilizing a keyword report. As you're going through that search terms report, Bethany, you said once a week or depending on how often we're going through that, we're going to make sure that we match up what kind of terms are showing for our broad matches and how well are they performing? How well are our overall keywords performing after the fact? There's just a number of different reports that we're going to want to save. And I think that a huge part here as well is looking at report history and understanding there's so many different reports. As I can be logged into my instance of Bing Ads. Bethany can be logged into her instance. The last 20 reports that you've run will all sit and stay current in your reporting view.
And just another note too, with emailing the reports, I have a schedule laid out every week of the tasks that I need to do, and inevitably a bunch of other stuff will come up during the day, but having the reports emailed to me is a trigger that I need to do my search term report today. It's right in my inbox. I can open it up right from there, but I use it also to keep myself on track with the tasks that I need to do to optimize my accounts.
Perfect. And we do work together. That was a perfect segue into our next section, which is all about campaign optimization. Just like Bethany was saying, we take this information. This is part of the feedback loop in terms of how we adjust and tackle the next items, which are really around some of the things we have listed here. improving low impressions, improving low click-through rate, trying to drive higher conversions. This is all extremely important. And when we look at our overall campaign optimization strategy, these are the main elements that we want to focus in on, because these are the types of things that plague this part of the customer journey. So, for example, first and foremost, we show ads to our targeted audience. We're looking to drive high impression volume or high volume of views to that ad. Users click to visit your website. What we're trying to do is make sure that we drive a high click-through rate, right? We want to make sure that that messaging resonates with what they're looking for. We want to drive clicks. We want to get them to then go ahead, move over to our site, make a purchase, become a loyal customer at the end of the day. And there are three main types of metrics that, in a very simple sense, are absolutely important to us all the time. First of which, impression volume. Again, we're not constantly focused on just how much traffic can we drive to our ads and to our website, but we really need to understand, is there an adequate user base that's seeing what we're advertising for, and are they then going ahead and clicking through to our actual site? So click-through rate is an extremely important measurement as well. I don't want to gloss over the fact that we've said that conversions are absolutely important, but click-through rate is still a really strong indicator that there's interest in what we're doing, and that we are driving a very consistent and relevant message. Again, relevancy is huge. And of course, conversions. We're always looking to drive an additional volume of conversions to the site.
Yeah, it's a balance between all those metrics. So you want to get a strong click-through rate and a strong conversion rate, working on those at the same time. So looking at both of those metrics and working to optimize them both.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk a little bit about some optimization strategies, or what are, not even optimization strategies, but really what are the causes for some of the things that can plague our account at a basic level. For example, missed impressions, or how do we optimize for low impressions? Well, what are the things that cause low impression volume? First and foremost, limited budget. What that means is we simply aren't spending enough money to ensure that our ads are showing across particular relevant keyword searches on Bing. And how do we fix this? We spend more money. That's a pretty simple one. Yeah, pretty easy fix there. Low ad rank is another common problem. And again, this is why we might not be receiving as much volume as we'd like. Again, what causes low ad rank? Well, first and foremost, low bid price, meaning your bid is simply not competitive enough for you to rank really well in the search engine. The other issue could be quality score. It could be relevancy of your keyword to your ad and to that actual search query. So there's a few ways that we can improve upon that. We want to tackle quality score. We want to tackle the actual, maybe the match types. We want to see how we can make that as relevant as possible. Disapproved keywords. This is a fairly easy one to identify. This means that keywords are not in compliance with the editorial guidelines. What do? Well, we can, first of all, they're flagged. We can edit these keywords. We can obviously flag them ourselves for manual review within the Bing engine. So again, another really fairly simple solution there. Negative keywords. In the last quick section, I showed you that there is a report where we can see if negative keywords are actually blocking your typical or your standard keywords from showing your ad. That can absolutely be a problem, that you have a conflict, and that the conflict is unfortunately detracting from more keyword volume driven to your ads. And then the final piece is inaccurate targeting. Very cautionary tale to those of us looking to expand if we're looking to either expand on our audience or actually fine-tune this through all of the different targeting methods that we've talked about throughout the day. If we fine-tune this list a bit too much, at the very first and foremost, what we're going to see is a decrease in volume, because you're targeting a smaller subset. Again, just word to the wise, make sure you're identifying, well, make sure that you're testing. if you're starting to whittle down your targeted audience based on geography or time of day, keep in mind that this does have the ability to shrink that targeted audience, and just understand what the consequences of doing that. Very easy fix. Like I said, if you're losing out on impressions due to budget, Bing Ads is very good at letting you know not only what's happening, so you can see that the actual campaign cookies in this example is limited by budget. We're spending $40 a day, but Bing goes through the process of recommending what is a likely budget increase and what are you likely to see in terms of actual clicks and more impressions per month. I think that's a fantastic way. It's not just the platform saying spend more money because we think it'll perform better. It's actually saying spend more money and this is the likelihood of what you're probably going to see. The next piece of the puzzle is low click-through rate. And some of the reasons that we often see click-through rate suffer is at the very base of it, once again, our favorite R word, which is relevancy. The ways that we can tackle this, I would say, I don't think they're easy, but I do think it's very straightforward. Some of the key elements of, put yourself in the shoes of your targeted customer. What are the reasons you would or would not click on a particular ad that once you've performed a search query? Likelihood is that the actual ad copy isn't very relevant to what you were looking for. So first and foremost, vague ad copy, I would even say inaccurate ad copy or just irrelevant ad copy. So you can go through some of the things we talked about earlier. We talked about making sure that your keyword is included in the ad title, making sure that you have specific offers or call to action. And then, a generic value proposition really just means what are you trying, what is going to happen when I click through to this ad? Am I going to find that product or service that I've been looking for or interested in? You need to make sure that you're giving somebody something that they understand the purpose of going through this channel. So just looking at a couple of ads here. The first one I've got Mary's Bakery, and this is a fairly nondescript ad. We've got a very simple message: visit Mary's Bakery and try our delicious baked goods. Sounds wonderful. Okay, and if we look at actual, click-through rate seems strong enough. 2.76% is actually quite strong. But look what happens when we fine-tune this ad and we look at something like gourmet cookies. That's probably the actual keyword that somebody performed. They've got 12 varieties of gourmet cookies made, and look at what actually happens to click-through rate. Improves dramatically. So when we cater to what that user is likely to be searching for, we have the ability to really fine-tune or improve click-through rate and tackle the whole relevancy issue. The last piece of quick optimization suggestions that we want to highlight is that of optimizing for low conversion rates. What are some of the reasons that people might not convert once they get to the site? Again, that is a very, very long, that has the potential to be a very long laundry list. But here are some of the absolute top level items that we see all the time. First of all, where are we sending them? Are we sending them to just the very first homepage and expecting that user to find that pair of shoes or to find the specific cookie that they're looking for in Mary's case? We need to be specific about where we send them. And then the second piece is really landing page experience. Are they able to find what they're looking for? Is there good navigation? Is messaging consistent with what was in the ad? Again, it really comes down to user experience. Are we sending somebody to a page that makes sense to them, and can they perform that action that we're looking for them to perform? And when we think about conversion rates, what I have here here's some of the conversion rates for different destination URLs, which means here are the 3 different web pages that I actually send these users to when they click on this ad. You can see the varying levels of specificity. So you can see in the very first example, I'm sending them to a page for gourmet cookies. Second page is just simply cookies, and then the final page is just the home page. And if you look at actual conversion rates, what's performing really well? Well, the page that takes us to the very specific instance or what I was actually looking for. I was looking for gourmet cookies. That's what the ad promised me. That's going to go ahead and deliver on that message that we showed that user. All right. Those are a few optimization tips that, to be honest, again, I keep saying this, but that could be a whole day there where we talk about analyzing performance and looking at how we then adjust and change our campaign settings and targeting based on those things. The next tool we want to talk about is called the Bing Ads Editor. And the Bing Ads Editor is really, it's a downloadable piece of software that we will enable to we'll do a lot of things with it. We're going to create and build out new campaigns. We can quickly and efficiently do things like copy one specific campaign and build it out to other regions, other areas, locations. We can adjust targeting. We can do all of these things from within this one tool. The purpose of it, efficiency, makes our life easier, really. If you're familiar with simple things like copying and pasting, if you're familiar with utilizing Microsoft Excel, if you're used to a simple tool that can drive a lot of value, you're going to be very happy with the Bing Ads Editor.
Yeah, I would not want to manage an account without it. It would take me twice as long, if not longer, to do some of the tasks if I was only working in the interface. So, I mean, I use it all the time. I absolutely love it.
Absolutely. And so first and foremost, what is the Bing Ads Editor? Well, it really enables all of these things. I kind of glossed on some of these, but first, work offline. You know, we're traveling quite often. One of the challenges of working in an online environment where you're constantly adjusting and looking at campaigns and making changes is that you have to be logged on, which is becoming easier and easier these days. But let's say you're flying, or let's say you're in a situation where you can't be plugged in and online. The editor is a great way to make all of these changes, propose different changes, save it, and then nothing goes live until you set it live. Bulk loading, again, when we're working with brand new advertisers, when we're making very big changes, sweeping changes to all of our keywords at once, this is a great way to do that. Importing and exporting changes, we can make rapid edits. All of this is really focused on, again, efficiency. How can we drive more from the usage of a very efficient tool like this? I'm gonna breeze a little bit through some of these steps. First is that of how do I install the tool? Well, I've put a link up here for you. It's a very easy download, a very easy install. I wanted to focus on, or at least highlight, one other tool. We don't talk about it today, but for those of us that enjoy utilizing Excel, for those of us that are used to setting up and adjusting campaigns and ad groups in a Microsoft Excel environment, the Bing Ads Intelligence tool is incredible. It's an Excel plugin. You download this tool. It fits right within the Excel ribbon, just like you're used to working within. And it's a great way for keyword expansion, keyword exploration. You can look at how different terms are performing, gathering impression volume, all of this sort of thing. So I highlighted that because though we don't talk about it in any heavy specifics today, it's there. It's another great tool to download while you're downloading the Bing Ads Editor. Next, it's a very simple prompt to go ahead and run the install. And once you've done that, just any of you that are watching this at home or any of you that are already logged into your Bing Ads account, if you have an account already, you're simply signing into the Bing Ads Editor with that very same account, and you will go ahead and be able to access any accounts. I put within your portfolio, maybe it's just one account, maybe you got 50 accounts that you manage as an agency or whatever it is. You have access to all of the same thing within your account here in the editor tool. So let's talk a little bit logistically as to what's involved here. First of all, on the far left side, you got the navigation tree. And so for any of us used to a nested hierarchy like this, Bethany showed at the very beginning of today that you're able to, basically the way the Bing Ads account structure is organized. So you have at the very top an account level. That's what you'll see first. And as you expand out that tree, you're going to see your campaigns, and you can explore all of the different ad groups within that campaign. Next, you're going to look at what I've highlighted here is the manager pane. Now, the manager pane is where a lot of a lot of the quick edits come in. I can simply click in, adjust budgets, I can adjust bid prices, I can adjust targeting settings, all within simply by hovering over and clicking in and adjusting those values. There's also an editor pane, so depending on what I'm focused in, you can see right here I've highlighted the campaign view. So everything in my manager pane is going to be all of my the actual campaigns in the account, and then in the editor pane, depending on what I've clicked on, I can adjust things like status, I can pause things, I can adjust budgets just like before, budget type, all of these sorts of things, all within the editor pane. And then finally, there is a ribbon of sorts in the editor also, and this is really where we go ahead and do things like get changes. And what we mean by get changes is download a fresh version of the account. I can't tell you how many times that I have made changes to an account in the editor, and I've said, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. Instead of trying to go back and undo everything I've done or switch it back to the way it was before, I just do a fresh download of everything that's current in the account and start all over again.
Yeah, I've been able to train myself now after 4 years that whenever I open up the editor, that's the first button I hit so that I know I'm working with the most current copy of my account.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need the most current copy. We need to be able to ensure that changes that we're making are based upon, again, things like latest statistics within the account at that moment. So diving in a little bit deeper into the manager pane, and again, I absolutely encourage everybody that is viewing this to download this tool and start utilizing a lot of the functionality. It is a very intuitive tool. I promise that a lot of these things that we've touched on, all of these concepts in Bing Ads, in the online interface, all of these things are consistent across the editor. What can I do? Again, I can view and edit all of my campaign settings and adjustments. I can look at my keywords in more depth, adjust ad copy, all of that sort of thing. From within the editor itself, the editor pane down below, this is where I can start to adjust exclusions, start and end dates for certain campaigns, adjusting bid prices. You get an ability to, again, dig in deep depending on what you've clicked in and specifically look at. All right, what I want to touch on now is editor basics. We've gone through some of getting oriented in the tool itself. Let's look a little bit further at how do I download accounts and campaigns? How do I then identify what needs to be changed? How do I utilize things like notifications? What are the types of interactions I'm going to see within the editor as I go through this? First and foremost, Bethany already pointed this out, get changes. I think that is a pretty good best practice when you first start out and you are looking to get a fresh version of the account. Get changes, get full account. And the reason we say get full account is because I wouldn't really want to worry about what has and has not been changed in the last 3 to 4 days that I've been working on something. I just want a fresh version of everything all at once. One thing to point out, if you download only settings, you do have the ability, let's say you just want to look at the particular settings for one campaign only. I can do that. I might want to take those settings and copy and paste that across other campaigns. I have that ability. Some of the things within within the Bing Ads editor that you're going to be presented with, I've got a number of different icons and alerts that you can see to help you understand what has happened. So first of all, anything that's new or modified, we're going to see this green plus sign. If it's been an updated item, you're going to see this little kind of notepad, WordPad type of notification. And the last one is that of deleted. The reason I'm pointing this out is because to me, what this screams out to me is that any changes I've made are not set in stone. So I can always go back, download a fresh version of the account, not set any of this live, and I think that's extremely important as we start to get more comfortable with what kind of changes we want to make. I know in my early days of working with search engine marketing, I was terrified of making a change that would go live immediately and potentially wreak havoc on a client's account, on our own business's account, and so therefore I'm extremely risk averse and I want to make sure that I'm notified before I make any of these changes. Some of the ways Bing Ads Editor can scream at you and tell you what is or is not working well. First of all, you'll see we've got account level notifications telling me payment has not been set up, so none of this is going to go live. I can see the notification bar where I understand if any errors have happened. I can view those errors and walk through those. And then, of course, I get notification icons in the specific view itself. And so I understand, oh, there's a problem with the actual, with this actual breads campaign. What's the problem? Bing Ads is going to tell me, the editor tells me that the budget has to be at least 5 cents, less than this. Please go ahead and make that change. All right, fine. I can do that if I'd like, and I can go ahead and get about my day. In terms of uploading changes, this is, again, very, very easy as well. Once I've gone through, made all these edits, very easy. There's a button called Post Changes. And so when I go ahead and I click Post Changes, one of the really nice things is Bing Ads will go through and tell you, first of all, how many different things have you edited and changed, and are we looking to adjust in your campaign live, as well as what things are being skipped because there's an error or an issue with them. Now, for Mary's Bakery, this is probably not a very big issue. She's only dealing with a very small handful of ads or keywords. But think about really, really large companies or businesses that have thousands and thousands of ads, that have thousands, 50,000 plus keywords that they're adjusting. This becomes extremely important. And Bing Ads does a really great job. The editor does a great job of flagging all the things that are not going to be pushed live into your account because there's still errors. All right, management tips. I just want to highlight a few more items, a few more kind of interesting workflows in terms of how we, Bethany and I, use the Bing Ads editor to go through our typical workflow. We're going to talk about copying and pasting, which anyone familiar with Microsoft is absolutely familiar with copy and paste, find and replace, multiple changes wizard, and advanced search. These are ways, very, very simple ways that we can go through adjusting for essentially expanding out our account, adjusting or building out new campaigns effectively, quickly, and easily. So first of all, let's just go back to Mary one more time and talk about the fact that Mary has a campaign called Wedding Cakes. And in the Wedding Cakes campaign, she's realized that right now it's only catered towards Boston, but she realizes that this is driving a lot of value. She actually wants to go ahead and expand this out to other states where she's getting a lot of inbound traffic. She wants to make sure that she can drive conversions in California, in Florida, in New York. The beauty of the Bing Ads editor is that you don't just have to, I don't have to go through the process of creating a new campaign, rewriting all my ads, rewriting all my keywords. I can utilize copy and paste quite simply. It sounds silly and very simple, but I can use copy and paste to really quickly start to expand these different campaigns across all these other states that are very effective. And so, I'm gonna copy and paste a campaign, and then I'm gonna quite simply find and replace all of the stuff in that one campaign that is catered to a specific state. I'm just gonna replace it with the name of another state or another city or another region. First of all, very simple. I think all of us, I'm hoping, and if not, this is great news. A lot of us are very familiar with the idea of right-clicking on an item, clicking copy, and then we're able to essentially copy just like this in the Bing Ads editor. We can copy a campaign for the purpose of going ahead and pasting it after the fact. And what happens is when I right-click and I paste that particular campaign, in this case, Wedding Cakes, I have an exact replica of that same campaign. And what do I have to do? Well, I'm going to have to go ahead and adjust some of these basics like budget and targeting, start and end dates. They will take on the same characteristics of whatever I copied. And I just simply have to change up the makeup, the actual makeup of what is in that campaign. So instead of it just being Wedding Cakes, I'm going to want to go ahead and find and replace everything to be reflective of whatever other state or city or geographic region is that I'm expanding out to. And in this situation, what I've done is I've gone ahead and first I want to tackle all the keyword changes because I know my keywords now have to be specific to a different state. So I can go ahead and you can see in the example here, I have gone ahead into my sync state, which just shows me anything that's new, anything that I've recently added in or adjusted. I can sort by that, so you can see custom wedding cakes. Well, what do I need to do now? I'm going to go into my editor pane and I'm going to replace text. I'm going to select those particular keywords, custom wedding cakes, and I want to change and replace that text from custom wedding cakes to custom wedding cakes Florida. Or I want to find everything specific to Florida and I want to change it to Texas or to New York or to California. I'm sure a lot of us are pretty familiar with copying, replacing, or adjusting and editing text in tools like Excel or Microsoft Word. All of these types of things, the same exact principles are in line here. And the reason we do this is because we can very easily expand out campaigns and get a lot more geographic coverage, etc., just by doing that. That's all fine and good. I want to take a couple other steps. First of all, let's say I'm doing a lot of changes all at once. There is a multiple changes wizard or tool within the Bing Ads editor that allows me to make a lot of different changes at once. So here, what can I do? Well, let's say I want to input a whole lot of additional keywords into the account. I can do that right into the interface like so. I can import this from a Bing Ads data sheet or from a custom data sheet, which really just means another Excel sheet. Very fast way for me to input a number of new keywords into this same Bing Ads account if I'd like to. And one of the final things we want to mention is there's another feature called advanced search. When Bethany and I were talking about utilizing all of the different Bing Ads reports to highlight certain campaigns that certain areas where we want to improve performance. Let's say we've got campaigns that are not converting well, but they're driving a lot of impression volume. Let's say we have ad groups that have very low click-through rate, or let's say we have keywords who have a very low cost per click, their exact match, and we want to essentially improve the we want to improve the bids on these particular type of terms because they should be high value and we want to go through the steps to make these more visible. So what do? I can use this advanced search tool. I can look for keywords that, again, are exact match. I can select that quite easily. I can look at that they are active keywords, and then I can ensure that the cost per click is less than $1. So these are cheap keywords that are $1 or less, that are exact match, and I want to go ahead and improve or increase visibility of these. What happens is it's kind of an advanced filter. I'm filtering out those terms that I want to adjust. What do I do now? I can select them both and I can, right in the tool itself, go ahead and change that bid price from 25 cents, as you can see here, up to $1 or more. All right. I know that's a lot that we've talked about with the Bing Ads editor. There's a lot of functionality. I promise you, given a lot of the fundamentals that we've talked through today, there is so much consistency within how this tool works, and it all matches very well to all of the Bing Ads fundamentals we've talked about. I would say, first and foremost, measure how things are performing before you take any action, because we can't drive changes or improvements without knowing, A, how well things are performing currently. We take a lot of optimization suggestions, things like adjusting bids and targeting, match types. All of this is to improve the relevancy, improve the establish stronger performance within those things that are currently performing well. The editor, download campaigns, work offline, enable greater efficiencies with how you make these adjustments. And then I love this, synchronize account changes with one click. It really is that easy, and it's really effective to be able to drive those types of improvements. So, told you we had a very secret surprise for you at the end of this module. I want to go ahead and introduce Dilip here. He's going to take us through the Bing Ads partner support. Dilip, I think you have it on your screen now. I'm happy to drive the slides for you, but after this, we'll be talking through things like, we're going to want to make sure that we indicate where the wrap-up or I'm losing my words now, the partner satisfaction survey at the end of this. So I'm going to hand it over to Dilip, and then good to have you here.
Yep.
Nice switch out.
Yeah. Thanks, Alan. Excuse me. There are three things I want to talk to you about today. First, just thanking you for your time, for joining us today, and hearing about all the opportunities Bing has to offer, or rather Bing Ads has to offer. Secondly, talk a little bit about what we do in Bing Ads, both me and my team. And finally, share some of the resources that will be available for you today and in future that you can leverage. So again, going back to the first things, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. I hope you find it useful, and I hope you find it beneficial for you to expand your digital marketing capabilities into the search area, and particularly with the Bing Ads. Secondly, a little bit about myself. I'm Dilip Tyagi, as Alan mentioned before. I run the Bing Ads agency and digital marketing professional outreach efforts. And over the last 18 months or so, we have built quite a bit of foundational elements to support our agency partners as well as digital marketing professionals to be successful on Bing Ads platform. And there are two important aspects for us when we say to prepare you to be successful on our platform. One is the technical capabilities or the technical enablement, something we did today with the help of Cardinal Path, of bringing the industry experts who can talk to us about whether it's about the tools, techniques, tips and tricks, and the best practices in the marketplace. And second is about the marketing resources. How can we help you to learn more about the search advertising from marketing perspective? How do we equip you with the right set of resources so you can evangelize it to your customers, and then providing you the insights and tips and tricks during the regular interval of time. So I'm going to talk more about the resources in the following slides. So starting with our top three core resources, I will start in the middle, which is Bing Ads Agency Hub. It's located at www.bingads.com/agency. Some people call it /agency. So this is the place where we have put out all our agency resources, whether it's about the pitch deck on how to pitch Bing Ads, or it's about looking at the latest data, whether it's the overall number of searches people are conducting, specific slice about a particular vertical, or the special insights for a tax season that we did a few months ago. We are working on back to school season now to bring you latest and greatest insights into that industry, so that you can share some of those insights with your customers and leverage some of the tools and skills that Alan talked about today, like when you're setting up the optimization, when you're selecting your target audiences, when you're selecting your target geographies. Use these insights too, because as season changes, some of these tactics that you apply needs to be updated according to the season, according to the supply and demand in the marketplace. So again, go to bingads.com/agency to find all the resources, including the resources that we are sharing today, or the resources that we have shared in the past. And next to it is the partner newsletter. Our partner newsletter is now available in all the service countries where we serve our partners, which is about 37 now, and we will reach to 52 by the end of this calendar year, I believe. And this partner newsletter provides all the updates that are happening in our ecosystem, whether it's about our products, whether it's about the latest insights that we bring to you, or whether it's about the upcoming changes. So we try to consolidate all our updates into the monthly newsletter that we send out to all our partners. So you can sign up for this agency newsletter directly from Bing Ads Agency Hub. Again, www.bingads.com/agency. These are the resources that are very near and dear to my heart, as we have spent tremendous amount of time in the last 18 months to design, develop, and create these assets. Finally, I do want to share one important asset that we recently created called the Bing Ads Welcome Kit. And the Welcome Kit is designed for whoever is new onto our platform. It is about how do we provide you the information in a succinct manner, provide you with some brochures, the brochures for you to understand what Bing Ad is about, and provide you with the brochures for your clients so that you can pitch Bing Ads to them. As I was saying, it's about the education, enablement, and evangelism. So how can you take some of these colorful charts and share the value of Bing Ads to your customers? Besides that, we have some infographics that gives you the most important data onto your fingertips. So what are the most important features in this season? Again, this is the Welcome Kit, so it is geared towards those who are new onto our platform. It does have some resources that can help you send out the information to your customers, like the cards, or help set up some of the accounts with some free coupons. Who likes coupons? Or who does not like coupons?
We like to spend the free money too, yes.
And it is
We're happy to do that.
And it is all about like making sure that agencies have the resources to understand the latest and greatest on our platform, as well as the resources for them to evangelize Bing Ads to their customers. Next to it is, I also have another great resource. This is the resource we kind of published in during the fall of last year, which was to help our agencies get most out of the holiday season. Mm-hmm. Holiday season, particularly in North America, being the biggest retail season of the year, we provided them with some sort of, all the high-level insights that was available to us. And in fact, we also provided optimization tips and tricks. We also provided them with the resources on how should you plan your campaign starting in November. What are the key things for our agencies to consider for their clients in November, December, all the way leading up to the Christmas timeframe. So these are some of the examples on how we support our agencies, or how we want to continue to support our agencies. As I mentioned before, please reach out to us for these great resources, and all this information is always available on bingads.com/agency hub. Right now we have the slide up on the agency welcome kit. So as we mentioned before, these kits are somewhat specific to the area you are in. That means when you are in US, you are getting the specific information about US, and then we have these kits available in Canada, UK, France, and Germany, and we are coming out very soon in Nordics, Brazil, Australia, and Netherlands. So again, go back to your local agency hub, and in every country, if you go to bingads.com/agency, it will redirect you to your local agency hub, and you can see the information on how to order your kit today. Or you can send us an email to agencykit@microsoft.com, and we will make sure that your email reaches our sales team, and you can have the access to our beautiful resources.
Great.
And finally, we live in a social world now. So whenever we do anything, we also try to make sure that all our followers, all our friends, and our families are fully aware of what we are up to. So one of the best ways to stay connected, besides Agency Hub, besides partner newsletter, is to stay connected with us on our social channels. The biggest one being the blog, where we are continuously, almost on a daily basis, providing the update, whether it's respect to our ecosystem, whether it's about our products, whether it's about the tips and tricks, or any other release. Like, for example, if we refresh the welcome kits, or if we bring the new back to school kits out, we share all that information through our blogs. Our blogs are available in 6 countries, in 6 languages: English, German, French, Chinese, and Spanish, as well as British English as well. And the simple URL for our blog for our blogs is blog.bingads.com. And besides communicating the information through our blog, we also use the external social channels, all the big ones, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and very recently we started using SlideShare too. And all the presentations that we share, all the insights that we build, we normally try to reach out to all our social channels. So our agencies and digital marketing professionals are fully aware of our latest and greatest resources. And in the end, how can you improve your presence on our ecosystem? And I'm sure everybody is fully aware of Microsoft certification. In Bing, our certification is slightly different in a way that our certification is called Bing Ads Accredited Professional, that is designed for individuals. And you can find the more information on our website at bingads.com under training, and you can take the exam. The exam is about 100 questions long. It's free of charge, and you can take it in multiple settings. So you can start taking the exam today, leave it in the middle, come back, and then finish your exam. And once you finish your exam, you can apply to be listed in Find a Pro directory. The Find a Pro directory is also located on our public-facing website, and you can provide your details about your address details, and this can be a good lead source for you to get more business in future. So better you market yourself, more leads you can get through us. And besides the individual accreditation program, we also have more formal certification program similar to other Microsoft teams, which is in Microsoft Partner Network, and the program is called Digital Advertising Competency. And similar to other competencies, it has both gold and silver level competency. Our partners can join the MPN and earn that competency. More details are available on bingads.com/agencies about how do you get an individual accreditation or you get the company certification. And finally, here are some of the resources that we discussed today. First and foremost, go set up your Bing Ads account, Bing Ads at www.bingads.com. I am pretty hopeful that the training that Ellen and Bethany led today will help you run those accounts in a very efficient and effective way. And then if you still have any questions, we do have additional set of resources, both in terms of articles, blogs, videos that you can find on getting started on bingads.com. And next to it, as you're building up your capabilities, look for the sales resources and insights that are located at our agency hub, which is www.bingads.com/agency. Again, anything from sales material, which is pitch deck, to our latest insights, to the latest ComScore data, to any tips and tricks, or even about information about our events like today's. We share all those information on agency hubs. And since I'm the owner for the property, I also always ask for your feedback. If you have any feedback, give us those feedbacks through our social channels or directly on Agency Hub. And we try to include and improve on the content that we have. So looking forward for your feedback. Finally, access the training material that we have. We will also make the training material from today available on different venues, and we will be sharing that out to you as well as through our social channels. And finally, one of the most important action items that you can take from this training today is to take the BAP exam, which is Bing Ads Accredited Professional Exam. You have invested almost 3-4 hours with us in this training today. Why not leverage that training while the information is fresh in your mind to take the exam and get accredited onto our platform and stand out from the crowd. And again, if you have any other question, feel free to reach out to us via email, bingconnect@microsoft.com. And if you have any question or any question regarding how to set up your accounts or how to optimize your accounts, you can always reach out to our support and services team too. Their phone number is listed here, which is 1-800-518-5689. We also have chat support available. You can always reach out to our email support too to help you set up the accounts, help you bring your accounts from other competing search engines and to optimize those accounts. We are here to help to make you successful on Bing Ads platform. I think that's it for today.
That's it. I just wanted to say, Dilip, that we thank you all so much for attending, and thank you for inviting us to be a part of this. I can speak for Bethany as well, who has mysteriously disappeared, but it's been a pleasure to talk through this material.
And thank you very much, and thanks to the Cardinal Path for helping us drive the training today. And I would love to hear feedback from all our attendees on what we can do, how we can improve it, improve the effectiveness of our training in future, and also what do you want to hear from us in future. All those things are important to us. And once again, thank you very much for your time. And before you leave, please provide us with your feedback. And we take that feedback seriously to improve upon for our future training programs. Thank you.